Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I just want to do a little update on the International 100C track loader engine mounts. If you watched my previous videos, you'll know that this engine mount right here on both sides of my track loader engine were bad. The rubber's completely destroyed, and these are no longer available new, and you can't remove the used ones because you will destroy them in the process. I even had to split this one to get it out of the bell housing. So we had to resort to making new ones. And the first step I took in doing that was going to a machine shop with these and all the dimensions, and then having a new outer sleeve made as well as a new inner shaft. And I got them back, covered them in painter's tape, and we're going to use this Forsch Polymer. This is a 80 on the A scale liquid urethane. So basically polyurethane mounts with the durometer rating of 80 on the A scale, which should be pretty good. I was torn between 80 or 90. I sided with 80, considering how little room there is for squish in there. I think we'll be pretty good, and anything's better than what we originally had. So let's get this stuff mixed up and get it poured. And this polymer, it comes pre-measured because you only want so many parts of each to mix together. And you had the option between red or black. I chose black because the original was black, but it's pre-measured. You have to dump all of this into there and then stir it for about no less than 15 seconds. I think we're going to do a little better than that. Unfortunately, we only have about 10 to 15 minutes to work with this and get it poured before it starts setting up. So you only have a pot life of about 15 minutes or less to get this poured. So as we stir, we want not to introduce any air bubbles, or as little as possible. So we're going to stir it gently but very thoroughly. So we've been mixing it for a little while. Looks to be pretty even. Scrape the bottom, scrape the sides, and I'm going to pour it into this mixing cup to make it easier to pour into each of these cavities. So a little update here. We got them, well, at least 4 of them poured out of the 8. This stuff started coagulating pretty quickly. I think I was only like 4 minutes in, and it wasn't very controllable anymore. You can see I've only used about half of it, and I couldn't pour another one if I had to. It's just too thick. This first one I started with, it poured nicely down into the cavity, spilled a little bit over the edge, but that's what the tape was for. No big deal. Second one, same deal. It leveled really nice, poured really nice. By the time I got to this third one, it was starting to set up and made kind of a mess. But the fourth one was just an absolute disaster. I just tried to get it filled up before it hardened up. But that's why I covered it in tape, so that as it gets a little bit thicker, I can peel the tape off and hopefully get the shape back to it. Sorry about the truck. So these have been hardening for about an hour now, and they're a little sticky yet, but not enough to make your fingers pick up anything. I started peeling a little bit of the tape off to see if I could get it off at this point. It's looking like I might be able to. These back ones are going to be a bit of a challenge, but I think with the razor blade it should come apart pretty decent. I like the looks of them so far. Just wish it hadn't set up so quickly and I could have done all 8. So a couple hours later, let these things set up a little bit and remove the tape from them. This was the first one we poured, and I'm really happy with it. Got a little bit of a meniscus there at the top where we poured it. It's kind of what I was shooting for. The bottom, everything sets flush. Still a little bit, I wouldn't say tacky, but it's a little bit soft. It calls for 7-day cure time, so they've got plenty of time, but I'm glad I was able to get the tape off of it. These other ones, I actually, surprisingly, these ones that were a little sloppy, they seem to turn out pretty good. I'm going to trim that layer at the top a little bit after it firms up a little more, but I'm pretty happy with the end product. And I thinking I might order another can of this polymer and maybe a different durometer and try the other 4 with that. And now that I know how fast it sets up, I can try a little better on the next round. It's been a week now since the latest ones. I did the last 4 in the same polyurethane 80 durometer on the A scale, and these are the ones from the first pour that I did. These are also 80 durometer. It's been enough cure time for both of them now. This one's been 2 weeks, this one's been a week, and I'm real happy with how these turned out. I can barely stick my fingernail into it. It's definitely firm. I think it's going to do the job just fine. Anxious to get it installed and see how it performs, but I think we're onto something. Unfortunately, I didn't get any of it on film, but I did take the flywheel off and replace the rear main seal and the gasket on the seal flange. And just this morning, took the pulley off the front, replaced the front seal, cleaned all that up. Now I'm back to these engine mounts. I'm gonna get it all cleaned up, get ready to install the new ones we had made. Hopefully it'll work. This is the little wafer that goes in between the bell housing area and where the rubber mounts go. Reinstall that. That'll kind of keep some of, if there's any oil that leaks out of a seal or whatever, prevent it from getting in the mount. Got a little bit of gouging there. I'm going to try to clean up with some emery cloth before driving in the new mount. Got one of the engine mounts that we made. I stuck it in the freezer just to give it a little bit of extra help as we try to drive it in. I really don't want to beat on the tip of it. I don't know how well that'll hold. That ought to work. Mushroom this edge just a little bit because of the socket I was using to drive it, but I'll file that down before we put the end on it.